Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS and 1190 WLIB and BronxNet right here. We talk about it all the time. People are asking about it all in the community. Go to BronxNet.org. On February the 3rd, a number of community groups have joined together for their Gentrification is Not Inevitable event. Joining us with a preview, we have Kendall Jackman, co-founder of Bronx Organizers Collective. See, you got me twisting up over here. And Aaliyah Burgos, right? Mm-hmm. And she's the outreach coordinator for Green Workers Cooperatives Incorporated. I just threw the I and C on there.
We're not incorporated.
Welcome you guys to the show.
Thank you.
You're going to be after this, though, I tell you that. Tell us about some of the things that you're doing.
Well, Bronx Organizers Collective was an idea in 2012. A friend of mine, another organizer, belonged to a similar group in Brooklyn and knew the Bronx needed to have the same thing. So the basis behind the Bronx Organizers Collective is for as many organizers and individuals in Bronx to come together so we can organize outside of the silos. Because you have work on housing doesn't mean the people you're working with don't need food, health care, education, etc. So if we come together and approach the problem as a unit, we won't be fighting each other for the pennies the foundations give us, and we can be helping our members better. It's also a place for organizers to be able to come and relax, talk to each other about problems they're having, vent, whatever. So,
Green Workers Cooperatives?
So it's Green Worker Cooperatives, and we're a nonprofit that helps develop worker-owned businesses. So cooperatives are a legal entity. They are legit businesses, and we help people, particularly in the Bronx, low-income communities of color, develop their business idea into a real thing. And so we do that through our 5-month Cooperative Academy, or Co-op Academy for short. And I think a particular thing that we bring is that communities of color have a long tradition of creating collectives or figuring out how to start a business, the entrepreneurial spirits throughout us. And so we actually provide training and technical support, as well as connecting people to financial support, legal services, and then continuing support once they launch their business. So from idea to launch. And so I'm also a former organizer as well out in the Rockaways in the Bronx here around land issues, so community-based solutions to land development. So anything
out of the Rockaways?
In the Rockaways, yeah. I'm a Bronxite, but I worked in the Rockaways post Superstorm Sandy.
But you guys are working the 5 boroughs now, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I'm a Bed-Stuy girl being held hostage in the Bronx, but I work in the 5 boroughs.
And I lived in Bed-Stuy for a short time.
All right, so you know the saying, right? Do or die, Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the BX.
Thank
Bronx
you.
Strong. All right, so you have something coming up?
Yes, on Friday we're working together to have a panel discussion, more or less a group discussion. And it's, as you said, gentrification is not inevitable. So we're looking at community land trusts, cooperative working together. The city's now asked for those interested in creating community land trusts. So a lot of the folks who are coming who are either working on it, have created land trusts, or are interested in doing so. So this will be a place for those who don't know to learn, those who do know to figure out how to move forward with what the city's asking us to do. For potentially in the future, they might give us land to do as community land trusts, but in the meantime, we're fighting for what we need to get anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you stop gentrification? I mean, it's happening all over the place.
So there's a few different ways. I think this panel is actually unprecedented to have it be a public event of people who are using several different tools to get community control over land, and then including cooperatives. So it's democratic groups that are then making decisions over their business. So employment and housing are very much linked. And so the tools that we're presenting on as cooperatives, there's several different types, housing and worker cooperatives, and Green Worker focuses solely on worker cooperatives. And then there's community land trusts. So that's a nonprofit that essentially owns the land underneath what is built on the land. They get to determine what gets built on it. So it's still a democratic process, and that's the opposite of gentrification.
Sure. From your point of view, explain to our viewing audience, I gotta say listening a lot because, you know, WBLS, but explain to our viewing audience your vision or your version of gentrification.
Well, folks talk about it being improving neighborhoods. I look at it as destroying neighborhoods. Most of the folks who come in after the developers building new glass and steel, first of all, they don't respect the character in the neighborhood. They'll come in, tear down the building, and put up what they feel like, and it doesn't fit in with the aesthetics of the neighborhood, which really aggravates me. I'm not against you improving the neighborhood, but respect the neighborhood. The folks who move in don't move into a community, they move into a piece of property. And I've known Bed-Stuy, Harlem, a lot of neighborhoods, folks move in, they want to change the character and the culture of the neighborhood because they now live there. So I call it destruction. Excuse me. If anyone is interested in what a community land trust is, we have one here in New York called Cooper Square.
Yeah.
And
That's around 14th Street.
it's Lower East Side. Yeah. It's below Cooper Union. They were able to stop Robert Moses from blowing up the city more than he did. But, excuse me, taking what Aliyah was saying, they have businesses that are on the CLT besides housing. So you can have businesses, schools. There's a group in Boston that has farm on their city property. So you can do anything with a CLT that you want to do. It's just the fact of being able to get the land from the city or whoever and in doing what you need to do for your community.
So in a nutshell, what you guys are doing is acquiring land and just
Hopefully.
hopefully. All right, well, give us a view of what you're doing with the land to maybe try to stop gentrification, or tell us what your organization is doing.
So we are partnering together to mostly educate folks on what a community land trust is and what cooperatives are. Both are insufficiently publicly out. The information is not out. So we want folks, especially institutions, to know what these tools are.
So your organization is creating the awareness that these things do exist.
Yeah.
And some of the things you can do with it or about it.
Right. Well, some of the groups that are coming have already partnered with us. There's also another group, New York City Community Land Initiative, which I helped start, which is a resource for folks who are interested in doing community land trust besides trying to create one of our own. So you have South Bronx United is already incorporated here in the Bronx. There'll be several other groups that have incorporated but may not have the property, but there are CLT on paper who are looking to get the property, who are looking to start building affordable housing and space for workers to do what they need to do and save our communities.
So you guys are standing in the gap for a whole lot of people, huh?
Have to.
So this event that you guys are having, how's that going to look? What shall people expect?
We're going to have a short panel discussion in the beginning. Folks introduce themselves, tell you what organization they're from and what work that organization is doing. Then we're going to break out into groups. Some folks working on food, some folks are working on health, some folks are working on co-ops, some folks are working on housing. So we want everybody to go in the individual group, discuss what we're proposing for community land trusts and cooperative workers would work for them. Those who've already started, share with those who haven't what steps they've taken, and then we'll come back together and share what we have and hopefully do a lot of networking.
There you go. Give me one more thing on what you think people should know.
Wow.
Yeah, essentially.
Just one, because I know you can create a whole nother show, but go ahead.
Well, gentrification is coming to the Bronx. That means displacement. And so residents who've been here through the bad times, through the burning, through municipal disinvestment, they need to stay here. They want to stay here, so we want to stay here for the good times.
And where can people go to find out more information on this?
They can check out the Facebook for Bronx Organizers
We have a Bronx Organizers Collective Facebook page. And on that page, you'll find our phone number and our email address and be able to get in touch with us.
What page is that?
Bronx Organizers Collective. And there's no comma between the R and the S.
There you go. Give them a big hand, everybody. Kendall Jackman, co-founder of Bronx Organizers Collective, and Aliyah Burgos, outreach coordinator, Green Worker Cooperatives.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
We'll
for
take a
having
quick
us.
break right here, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Open next.